Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Pranam Mataji.
Ram Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavat pranam.
Dandar Pranam. Let's start. Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Udirayet Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, chapter 11, verse number 12. Whoever wants to read the verse can please quickly raise your hands. Mataji, Madhumay Krishna Kant Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Kshetrajnayeta manaso vibhuti. Jivasya maya rachitasya nityaha. Anirhitaha vapi tirohitascha. Shuddho vichastehi avishuddha kartuhu. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Chitramoyini Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Kshetrajnayeta manaso vibhuti. Jivasya maya rachitasya nityaha. Anirhita kvapi tirohitascha. Shuddho vichasteha vishuddha kartuhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Krishna. Anjali Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Kshetrajna etaha manasaha vibhutihi jivasya maya rachitasya nittaha avirhataha kvapi tirohitaha cha shuddhaha vichastehi avishuddha kartuhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Krishna. Venkat Narasimha Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Kshetrajnayata manaso vibhuti jivasya maya rachitasya nityaha avirhyata kapi tirohitacha suddho visishta hi avisuddha kartuhu. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you, Krishna. Vijay Kumari Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Kshetrajnaya yeda manaso vibhutir jivasya maya sarasita nityaha avirhidaha kiva abhitirohidascha siddho vishestehi avisindhi kartuhu. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Usha Bhatt Mataji. Mataji, you got initiated, right? Your name is Usha Mai. Usha Bhatt Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. No, I haven't, Mataji.
Okay, somebody else. Thank you. Sorry.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Pranams Mataji. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Kshetrajna eta manaso vibhutihi jivasya maya rachitasya nityaha anirhita kvapi tirohitascha Shuddho Vichashte Viশুদ্ধ Kartuhu. Pranams Mataji. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna. Thank you.
Shubha Prabhuji.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी दंडवत प्रणाम।
Navya.
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। क्षेत्रज्ञयेता मनसो विभूतिः जीवस्य माया रचितस्य नित्याः अविर्हिताख्यापि तिरोहिताश्च शुद्धो विचष्टे ह्यविशुद्धकर्तुः। हरे कृष्ण माता जी।
Thank you. Revati Mataji. Hare Krishna. Revati Mataji. Galaxy 7S9.
Mataji, I also got recently initiated. Now, just now only, Revati Rasrangi Didi. My name is now. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Revati, congratulations. Krishna.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, your mercy, Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji. Kshetrajño yeta manaso vibhuti jivasya maya rajidasya nityaha aviradakvabir tirohidasya suddho vishoshtahi avisuddha kartuhu. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You were in Mangalore, Mataji? You got initiated in Mangalore?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, very nice. Congratulations.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you very much. Your mercy, Mataji. Krishna's mercy.
क्षेत्रज्ञ एता मनसो विभूते जीवस्य माया रचितस्य नित्यः अविर्हिता क्वापि तिरोहितश्च शुद्धो विचस्ते हि अविशुद्धकर्तुः. क्षेत्रज्ञ, the individual soul, eta, all these, manasaha, of the mind, vibhutihi, different activities, jivasya, of the living entity, maya rachitasya, created by the external material energy, nitya, from time immemorial, avirhitaha, sometimes manifested, kwapi, somewhere, tirohita cha, and not manifested, shuddha, purified, vichaste, sees this, he certainly, avishuddha, unpurified, kartu, of the doer. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The individual soul bereft of Krishna consciousness has many ideas and activities created in the mind by the external energy. They have been existing from time immemorial, Hare Krishna. Sometimes they manifest in the awakening state and in the dream state. But during deep sleep, unconsciousness, or trance, they disappear. A person who is liberated in this life, Jivan Mukta, can see all these things vividly. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, verse 3, Kshetra Jnanam cha api mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. There are two kinds of kshetrajna, or living beings. One is the individual living being and the other is the supreme living being. The individual living being knows about his body to some extent, but the Supreme Paramatma knows the condition of all bodies. The individual living being is localized and the Supreme Paramatma is all-pervading. In this shlok, the word Kshetrajna refers to an ordinary living being, not the Supreme Living Being. This ordinary living being is of two kinds, Nitya Baddha or Nitya Mukta. One is eternally conditioned and the other eternally liberated. The eternally liberated living beings are in the Vaikuntha Jagat, the spiritual world. And they never fall into the material world. Those in the material world are conditioned souls. Nitya Baddha. The Nitya Baddhas can become liberated by controlling the mind because the cause of conditioned life is the mind. When the mind is trained and the soul is not under the mind's control, the soul can be liberated even in this material world. When it is liberated, one is called Jivan Mukta. A Jivan Mukta knows how he has become conditioned. Therefore, he tries to purify himself and return home back to Godhead. The eternally conditioned soul is eternally conditioned because he is controlled by the mind. The conditioned state and liberated state are compared to the sleeping unconscious state and the awakened state. Those who are sleeping and unconscious are eternally conditioned, and those who are awake and understand that they are eternally part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Those who are sleeping and unconscious are eternally conditioned, but those who are awake understand that they are eternally part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Therefore, even in this material world, they engage in Krishna service. As confirmed by Sri Rupa Goswami, Iha Yasya Hare Dasye. If one takes to Krishna's service, he is liberated even though he appears to be a conditioned soul within the material world. Jivan Mukta Sa Uchyate. In any condition, one is to be considered liberated if his only business is to serve Krishna. Om Gyan Timirandasya Gyananjan Chalakaya Chakshurulmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gatamahiyam Dadati Sapadantikam. Hare Krishna Karna Sindhu Dinbandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namasite Saptakanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishwanuste Devi Pranamami Haripriya. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pisthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamni. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Picharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatharine. The individual soul bereft of Krishna consciousness has many ideas and activities created in the mind by the external energy. They have been existing from time immemorial. Sometimes they are manifest in the awakening state and in a dream state. But during deep sleep, unconsciousness, or trance, they disappear. A person who is liberated in this life, Jivan Mukta, can see all these things vividly. Okay, we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, the creative impetus, chapter 11, which is entitled as what again?
Jada Bharata instructs King Raghu.
Jada Bharat is instructing King Raghu. And from 12th verse onwards, Jada Bharat is going to explain about the difference between the mind of activities of the mind of a conditioned soul versus a liberated soul. So far, he described us that how the mind makes a living entity conditioned in this material world, because the mind is now covered by the influence of this soul, Krishna. Soul is covered by the influence of the mind, which is influenced by three modes of material nature very strongly, given it has desires separate from those of Krishna. Okay, so this is the first difference, that individual soul which is bereft of Krishna consciousness. So this is a very interesting line if you read, soul bereft of Krishna consciousness. So the soul actually cannot be bereft of Krishna consciousness at any moment, right? Still the translation is written as the individual soul bereft of Krishna consciousness. What does it mean? What it really means is that the soul which is covered by the material mind. Okay, it's not that, for example, there are words like this even in Isopnishad, Atmaha, right? What does Atmaha mean? What does Atmaha mean?
Killer of the soul. Killer of the soul.
Killer of the soul, yeah. But then we study that soul cannot be killed, right? Then how come there is a killer of the soul? So it is just a way of explaining that if we are not taking to Krishna consciousness, then we are actually not meeting the needs of the soul. The soul has needs, right? And the need is to be with Krishna. But we're not meeting the need. So why? Because this soul is influenced by this mind, which is conditioned and has its own desires and activities. And it just takes the soul for a ride in the material world, from so many ups and downs in this world. So this is the result of not being Krishna conscious, that there are so many ideas and activities created in the mind by the external energy. The external energy will still be there even when the mind becomes liberated, but it will lose its influence. Okay, it's not that the external energy will suddenly disappear. The three modes of material nature are not there. They're there. As long as we have a material body or we are in the material world, they're there. But they don't influence a liberated soul. We get influenced because of the weakness of the mind. Remember, we read about weakness of the mind in 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada writes in the last purport about the weakness of the mind and how the mind has become weakened because of its desire to be in the material world. So, and there is no time range when these ideas were created. They've been there for time immemorial. Okay, but sometimes when we are in a state, when we have a working body and the consciousness is alert and we are oriented to time, place, and person of where we are at the moment, we can manifest these ideas. But sometimes, either by virtue of not having an able body or by virtue of deep sleep, these ideas are not manifesting. But that doesn't mean that they're not there. They're there. Okay, but this is not visible to a conditioned soul, because a conditioned soul is very busy in just manifesting those ideas or creating more ideas and activities. I think I was driving this morning. Was it this morning or yesterday? I don't clearly remember. Maybe this morning or yesterday. It's nighttime here, okay? So I was like taking a turn, and there was this car which had a huge trailer behind it. It was like crossing left, and I was going this way, and the car was coming this way. So I looked at the car. It was a small car, not a big car by American standard, but then it had a huge trailer and had two motorboats on the trailer, on top of the trailer. And the driver was like, taking it to the river, the direction of the river, so they can, I was thinking, so they can put their motorboats on the river, and then they can just ride. So much endeavor. The idea was that, okay, I'm going to enjoy the water because it's a hot summer day, and I'm going to take this motorboat, two of them. I don't know, somebody else was in the car, didn't pay attention, but I just crossed my mind at that moment that, this is how we actually not, this is how we actually expand these ideas and activities. So many activities and so many ideas. There's so many things to be done, so many places to be visited. I'm not saying don't go outdoors. I'm not saying don't go in the water. I'm not saying don't even like exercise or remain healthy. I'm not saying any of those, but endeavor, like extra endeavor. And how do we know that we are doing extra endeavor? When we are stretching ourselves too much out of our daily sadhana is getting affected. That's when we know that there's an extra endeavor to place ourselves in the material world or to please somebody or someone else, which is actually basically means to please our own desire of mind. We actually are never trying to please anyone else. If we are conditioned, we're never trying to please anyone else. We're always trying to meet the needs of our own mind and ideas and activities. Okay, but that's how it happens. So I was like, oh my God, this is like so difficult. This is a very difficult life to have. So because there's so many domains of satisfaction that we have defined in our social norms, but they don't satisfy. You see, we have to become mature now to see that they're not going to satisfy, they don't satisfy. Prabhupada gives an example, two examples to explain this allegory. He gives an example of a child who is crying, baby is crying, incessantly crying. And the relatives are trying to give that child some toy or some distraction, or the aunts and uncles are trying to play with the child. The child is not stopping to cry. But the minute the mother walks in, hey, what's going on? And holds the baby stops crying. So basically, what was the child looking for was the mother. And it stopped crying. And Prabhupada gives another example of the fish out of the water. So if the fish is out of the water and you can give it all kinds of luxury, it's not gonna have any attraction to those luxuries because it really wants to be in water. Like that, we can expand the domain of our activities based on our ideas, and actually, create false competitive spirits between one person to another person in terms of who is better situated in the societal manner, financial manner, educational manner, influential manner. We can do all that, but it's not going to make us happy. It's not going to make us happy. Somebody was telling me, okay, this is like, okay, the summer was very good for me because I got to meet so many people this summer. So I went to Germany for a few days, and when I was there, one of the friends, he told me that what is this Krishna? That they knew someone in Europe who was living in an area where 500 million euros was enough to live. And anything extra above that is just like a luxury. But the person who was speaking was so busy in mending money that he actually had to change country to save taxes because his wealth was overwhelming. So, but you know that this much is enough to live in the area where you're living, but you're still going to keep on making money. And the house is completely like, havoc. The family life is completely havoc, but they're, externally living a very, very extravagant life, which I can't even believe, I can't even like imagine how much is like 500 million euros would look like. But they had well over that. So the lesson learned is, okay, it's okay. Krishna gives, you give, he gives, you have karma, you get it. But the thing is that the happiness is not going to come from there. It's not going to come from there. We make such people as our role model. That's a mistake we do. Navanish Prabhu talks about it very often. He talks about it directly. He talks about it like we are making role models as our successful movie star, and we read about their biography, or a successful political leader, or a successful sports person, or a successful, anything like an actor. So, or I said movie star, or successful fine businessman, right? We are attracted because their definition of happiness is directly related to fame or money. And it is very tangible because it is visible to the gross eyes. And why we get attracted? Because we also have that kind of idea. So the idea matches with the other person's idea and we get inspired. But it's false in one way because it's not going to give happiness. The real happiness that we are looking for. It's not that, okay, you cannot get influenced by by these kind of successful people, but don't make them a role model. Okay, don't make them a role model. Don't aim to have a life like them, because there's no guarantee that they're happy. If they're not Krishna conscious, Srila Prabhupada makes a statement, they're not happy. They're not happy. They're not Krishna conscious. So individual soul bereft of Krishna consciousness is many ideas and activities created in the mind by external energy. So what is it? A rich is known not by how much they need, how much more they need, but a rich is actually known by how much less they have and they're still happy. What is a thing like this? Let me just read from a book. What is the definition of a really rich person? I was reading the other day. You have this book, Gita 3 by Swam Bhagwan Keshav Maharaj. The wealth, we have a world which teaches us the wealthy have the most. Right? We have the world that teaches us wealthy have the most. Yes or no? Are you still there, or is gone? Yeah, we live in a world which teaches us the wealthy have the most. Yeah?
Yes, Mataji.
Right, wealthy have the most. But Bhagavad Gita teaches us the wealthy need the least. Okay, so it's not that the wealthy is the one who has the most, but the wealthy is the person who needs the least. And Krishna, and it says that the world says be the best, right? That's the whole societal competition. I am the best, be the best. But Bhagavad Gita teaches us try your best. So we can see that, or the world teaches us make a to-do list. Yes, I learned this all my life, make a to-do list. Yes or no? But Bhagavad Gita teaches us make a to-be list. What do you want to be? To-be list. Okay, so it's not that we are going to, look different or have different kind of, we're not going to eat food, or we're not going to sleep, or we're not going to have a family, or we're not going to even have a job or something, but the outlook will be different. Why? Because the desires of the mind are different. Why? Because the mind is now engaged somehow or other, in some way or other, in Krishna's service by the mercy of the acharyas. So we can see how we are deviating from the main fundamental principle is if my mind is again making many plans and activities which are not centered around Krishna. Then I can, like, this is a self checklist that I can see that I am getting distracted or digressed from the main topic. But Krishna is so kind that if you continue to chant Hare Krishna, the material conditions become very difficult to achieve. You know, the ideas that the mind creates, and you continue to chant Hare Krishna, it becomes extremely difficult, more difficult to achieve those ideas and activities. It's a mercy of Krishna, it's a mercy factor. The Sampraday's mercy factor acts like this. We may actually not get or never achieve the ideas and the desires of the mind if they are not in Krishna, centered on Krishna. And we may actually, become sad or rejected or repressed or cry. But we don't know what is good for us. So we can pray under those circumstances also that Krishna, I don't know what really is good for me. I have this desire, but I really don't know if this is good for me. So my only request is if you can please give me strength and tell me what is best for me, which is going to lead me to you, even if it means that whatever I'm desiring, it may not be fulfilled by your loving hands. Just give me that strength. Or if it gets fulfilled, then also give me that strength and memory that I don't forget the main agenda of my life is to become Krishna conscious and not to remain Nitya Baddha or eternally conditioned, which I am anyway right now. There's no more endeavor needed to become Nitya Baddha because we are already Nitya Baddha. The endeavor is needed to become Nitya Mukta. Okay, so take the right step, even if it is difficult, or even if you're the only one taking it and no one else is actually accompanying you. Krishna is with you. Krishna is with us. The whole Sampradaya is with us. They're not tangible because we are not pure enough, but they're there. That is why regular attendance in the classes of Srimad Bhagavatam, regular chanting, regular association of Srila Prabhupada and devotees is needed. Then because we keep our memory very sharp by constant practice of all these regulative principles to make us immune to the infection of the material nature. And even if we get infected, we don't get impacted that much as we would have been if we were not in Krishna consciousness, which is purely mercy, not because of our activities, purely, some high devotee, some pure devotee has taken mercy on us. Okay. Questions, reflections, realizations, corrections, complaints.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prem Prakash.
As you very rightly said, Srila Prabhupada really gives very good message here and makes us understand things very simple. He simplifies everything for us. He says in spiritual language, you are called sleeping or unconscious when your mind controls your soul. That means you are conditioned. But you are awake or liberated when the soul controls your mind. So this is very important distinction. And the last sentence is really very important. Jivan Mukta Sauchyate. In any condition, one is to be considered liberated if his business is Sri Krishna. The example is Sri Ramanishwadas Prabhuji. His only business is Sri Krishna. So he is liberated. So this is how we can ultimately get liberated in this material world. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
The Ihayasya Hare Dasye, then as Prabhuji said, he becomes Jivan Mukta. Is this Jivan Mukta equal to the Jivan Mukta present in the Vaikuntha?
Correct. Because the definition of Jivan Mukta is one who is engaged in the service of Krishna. So the devotees in Vaikuntha are engaged in service of Krishna. Yes.
That's
Correct,
what I want.
correct.
That's a wonderful addition, Prabhu.
Yes. Very nice. Prakash Prabhu, you also made a very nice point. Thank you. Okay, if there's no other question,